Hey, good morning, Tommy.
Hi, Chuck.
Hi.
I really appreciate you taking the time to help me practice my walk around.
No problem.
I've been reading up on the CT400 and I watched all those training DVDs you gave me, so I think I'm ready.
Glad to help. Now, you've been at the dealership for almost a month now, and while studying the material is helpful, practicing is the only way you can get good at a walk around. Now, since you haven't met with David Hunter yet, I'll talk you through the approach. And you start in front of the truck with a statement that outlines each of the customer's issues that you've determined. And at the end of the statement, confirm that these are indeed the important issues. Something like, now, based on what we've talked about so far, I know that reduced maintenance costs and driver retention are important to you. Now, with your permission, I'd like to show you how the International Durastar will help you lower your maintenance costs and retain drivers. Now, is there any other concern that I haven't mentioned that you'd like for me to address?
Why did you ask about other issues than what you have probably prepared for?
Well, Tommy, you see, the important thing is to get all of the customer's concerns out in the open. Perhaps something has dramatically changed since you last spoke with him, or maybe you missed something earlier. If a customer brings up a new hot button, acknowledge the new issue and try to think on your feet how you will work that into the walk around. By practicing, you'll be prepared to be flexible enough to deal with unexpected issues as they pop up. So, all right, let's just pretend that I'm David Hunter and show me what you got.
Based on what I've heard from you so far, it sounds like reduced maintenance costs and improved driver productivity and retention are what are important to you. Is there anything else you'd like me to specifically cover as I show you how the Durastar model will help you meet those needs?
Now, that's good. That's good. Keep going.
This is the Durastar. It's standard with a multi-pieced sloped hood design so the fender can be repaired independently. Next, we have aerodynamic headlights that are made of an impact-resistant material, and you don't need any tools to replace the bulbs either.
Well, so what?
What do you mean?
You heard me. So what? So what if the fenders can be repaired independent of the hood? Or so what if the headlight lamps can be replaced without any tools? Those are just features and advantages. You haven't said what the benefit is to me. You need to answer, so what, for the customer, because that's what he's thinking. It's called fab selling. It's what separates the salespeople from order takers in this business. The feature tells the customer what it is. The advantage tells the customer what it does. The benefit tells the customer, so what? Or in other words, why is this feature important to him?
But I told you the fender could be repaired independent of the hood.
Well, yes, you did. And that's an advantage, not a benefit. The multi-piece hood is a feature. The fact that it allows for replacement of the fender independent of the hood is an advantage. The benefit, or so what, for the customer is that it may save him almost $2,000 in repair costs in the event of an accident. You see, the benefit, to be effective, really needs to provide an answer or tie in to solving an identified problem of the customer. Now, do you see why it's so important to interview the customer before the walk-around?
Yeah, I can see that about a fleet buyer, but what about a walk-in customer? How am I supposed to know what their problems are?
The same way. You ask them. I mean, how do you know what model of truck to show them if you don't know how they're going to use it? When you first meet a walk-in prospect, you need to take a few moments to build a certain amount of rapport and trust with them. Then ask a simple question. What are you looking for in a truck? You know, it will open them up to talking about their business and what they expect from the truck and what kind of loads and operating conditions it will be expected to operate in. One of my favorite questions to ask a customer is, what 3 things does he or she like or dislike about their current truck? Their answers to that question will give me a pretty good idea of what's important to them and the influencing factors on their purchase decision.
But what about a customer who's pretty internet savvy and walks in already knowing what model he wants?
Well, are you an order taker or a salesman? You still need to take the time to ask the customer questions before showing them a truck for two reasons. One, you need to confirm that the truck they're interested in will do the job. You need to be sure to sell him the right truck so that he'll be more than likely not only to come back to you when it's time for the next truck, but also so that he'll be referring you to his friends. The second reason is unless you ask the questions that uncover the reasons why they buy or what their economic hot buttons are, you'll have no ammunition to justify your price.
Wow, I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed. I'm not really sure how I can put all of that into a product walk-around.
Well, yeah, that's natural at first. I mean, there is a lot more to doing a first-class walk-around than just listing off the standard and optional features and what they do. To do a good walk-around, try to see things from the customer's perspective and ask yourself, so what? Walk-around is only good if it addresses the expressed needs of the customer. And the way you find out what those needs are is by asking questions. Do you remember that questioning module I showed you yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's pick it up from under the hood.
All right, Chuck. As we take a look under the hood, notice how the torsion bar assist makes light work of raising the hood. The easier it is to access, the greater the likelihood that drivers are doing their pre-trip vehicle inspections. As an owner, you get peace of mind because unexpected repairs are avoided due to missed pre-trip issues.
Well, now that is a nice job of stretching that feature into a benefit and then using the phrase peace of mind, knowing you're doing all you can to avoid unexpected repairs. That was a good psychological benefit.
To be honest with you, Chuck, I just said what was on the training DVD. I thought a benefit had to be dollars and cents. What is a psychological benefit?
Tommy, benefits come in two major categories. There's functional and psychological. Whenever you can, use a functional benefit that relates to either a reduction in operating cost or an increase in revenue. Here's a couple of examples. Let's say we have a feature like the sloped hood. It delivers the advantage of improved aerodynamics. The benefit to the customer is the reduced expense of fuel he has to purchase. Another example would be, say, a feature like wire routing and clipping. The advantage is fewer electrical problems due to harness chafing. The benefit is more time on the road producing more revenue than having the truck down and costing money in repairs. Functional benefits such as dollars saved or hours saved in repair really help to defend your price. Psychological benefits are things you can't really quantify, but may very well be important to a customer. They tend to describe how a customer feels about themselves when they buy or use a product. Usually they refer to emotions like reinforcing a positive feeling or eliminating a negative feeling. You used a psychological benefit by creating a positive feeling for the customer. Now, if you really want to hit a home run, try getting compound benefits from the same feature.
How do I do that? Or better still, what is a compound benefit?
All right, a compound benefit is getting more than one benefit from the same feature. Let's take the windshield, for example. Tommy, can you give me a functional and a psychological benefit from that same feature?
Sure. It's curved and sloped, which provides better aerodynamics, which improves fuel economy. And at over 2,000 square inches, it gives the driver a commanding view of the road, which makes them feel more confident and in control as they maneuver through traffic.
Now, there you go, Tommy. You got it. Here's some other thoughts to keep in mind concerning these benefits. To maintain your credibility and have the most impact with the dollar benefit, you need to use realistic numbers, and preferably the customer's numbers from your interview. And remember to stretch the dollar amount over the life cycle of the vehicle. For instance, we have a service interval advantage of $25 every 3 months. Then stretch out the math for him. $100 a year multiplied by 4 years he owns the truck, that's $400 per truck. And if he buys 3 trucks, that adds up to $1,200. A $25 advantage doesn't sound like much, but when you expand it into the big picture for the customer, even little advantages can really impact the bottom line. Now, as I said before, you did a nice job of bringing out the customer benefit. But how do you think you could have improved that part of your demonstration?
Well, rather than me opening the hood and telling the customer how easy it is to open, I should have let the customer experience the hood opening for himself.
There you go, that's right. Whenever possible, get the customer to participate in the walk-around experience. The more features they can experience for themselves, the more meaningful the benefit, and not to mention the more likely it is that they are going to remember it. Now, let's talk about staging the truck. Realistically, a person's attention span or schedule isn't going to let you take more than 20 to 25 minutes to do a walk-around. So you need to make the most efficient use of your time. So little things like unlatching both sides of the hood in advance can save you time. Even if you determine that the latches are worth talking about to a particular customer, you only need to have him open one side, not both, to save time. But staging the truck is a lot more than just a time saver. Obviously, the truck has to be clean, and it has to have enough fuel for a test drive after the walk-around. You want to set up the truck to show its features in the best possible light, to show off the turn angle, for example. Don't keep the truck parked with the wheels pointed straight ahead. Turn the wheels away from the steering gear as far as possible. And this shows the customer the maximum turn angle. And it also makes it easier to get in between the tire and the fender when showing items under the hood.
Yeah, that's a good one. Jeff told me about one trick he uses with a lot of owner-operators. He unlocks the driver's door in advance to save time, like you said, but he leaves the passenger door locked. Once the customer climbs up into the driver's seat, he goes around to the passenger side and asks the customer to reach over and unlock the passenger door. Any customer that's used to driving those old-style narrow cabs gets the point immediately as to just how wide the International cab really is.
Jeff would know he has made a good living selling owner-operators over the years. Tommy, you've heard the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words, haven't you?
Sure, but what's that got to do with a walk-around?
Well, a visual aid or prop can often help support your reasoning or clarify the point you're trying to make, and can make a powerful impression on the customer. You know, it can really make the walk-around experience stand out compared to any other walk-around experience the customer may have seen, and remove any doubts the customer may have about any of the features you're describing. And if nothing else, it'll help the customer remember you and your product.
Okay, so what kind of visual aids can I use?
Well, here, let me give you a couple of ideas of evidence that I've used with customers sometimes. You know, when we talk about how multiplex wiring reduces the cab harness size by nearly 40%?
Yeah, it can make wire routing easier and less chafing, and not to mention faster troubleshooting.
Yeah, right. Well, why not hand the customer a short length of the cab harness bundles and let him see for himself the difference in size? Or when you talk about how a Huck bolted frame eliminates retorquing since the bolt can't loosen off, well, hand him a small Huck bolted piece of metal. And again, drive the point home with tangible evidence that he can see and touch for himself.
I hear what you're saying, Chuck, but where am I supposed to get some of these visual aids?
Well, there are a couple of sources right here in the dealership. Your first stop should be in the service department and see Bill, the service manager, and explain to him what you're looking for. He's pretty good at hanging on to damaged or broken stuff after a truck has been in for repair. He can even sometimes get you stuff off competitive trucks that have been in for repair. Like, have you ever seen how much bigger and beefier a piston is on a DT engine compared to, say, like a Cat C7? And then as far as getting a frame Huck bolt goes, that wouldn't be a problem for Bill either. His service technicians are making wheelbase length changes on stock trucks all the time, so he'll fix you up. And then your next stop should be to see John in the body shop. You'd be amazed at the stuff like a cab harness that he can salvage off of a truck that's been in an accident. And ask around the dealership some of the other reps for some ideas that will help you develop your own walk-around style. And with that in mind, let's get back to practicing the walk-around, all right? So let's pick it up from the side of the cab.
The cab body panels are built with a tolerance of plus or minus 1 millimeter. This tight tolerance results in a quiet cab environment, but the benefit is more than just a quieter cab. The result is a cab with outstanding fit and finish that offers a quieter, more comfortable environment for the operator. And it's backed by a 5-year limited cab perforation and corrosion warranty. The Durastar also holds down the cost of minor mirror and door damage. The breakaway mirror design allows the mirror to fold forward or backwards to avoid damage in case of an accident. Go ahead, try it for yourself.
Okay.
That feature could save you between $900 to $1,200 in repair costs due to mirror pullout and progressive door damage when compared to fixed arm or cab-mounted mirror designs. Well, Chuck, that's all I can remember. How'd I do?
Now, that was a pretty good run, Tommy. You did a good job of stretching the breakaway mirror feature into a dollar benefit for the customer. And I also liked how you got the customer involved in the walk-around experience by letting me move the mirror back and forth. But tell me, what are some things that you think you could have done better?
Well, I don't mind telling you, I was pretty nervous. I was so focused on remembering everything to say that I know I wasn't looking you in the eyes.
Yeah, that's a good point. You practice looking at the customer, not the truck, when doing a walk-around. Anything else?
Oh, I forgot to mention the C-loop mirror arms.
Yeah, remembering what to say will come with practice, as well as taking the time to listen to what is important to the customer. I was thinking more in terms of how you said it. Your voice was strong and confident, and you didn't use a lot of slang or international jargon. You spoke loud enough to hear, but were you aware of the fact that you were jingling your keys in your pocket for most of the time?
I was? Really?
Yeah. Yes, really. Practicing in front of some of the other sales reps, or even videotaping yourself, and you can watch for distracting little habits. You want to avoid distractions for the customer, like shuffling your feet or jingling change in your pockets, because that can quickly take away from the effectiveness of your walk-around. And likewise, appearance is important. Whenever possible, dress like your customer. If he wears a tie, you wear a tie. There is no excuse for dressing like a slob. The point is, you want to put them at ease and view you as a confident professional, not providing a distraction. Now, I understand that when calling on some customers, mirroring what they wear may include a casual golf shirt. But when you're in the dealership, especially on floor duty, portray a professional image. If you're wearing a pair of grubby jeans and scuffed up running shoes, chances are the customer will be distracted, wondering if he's got the right sales rep.
Point taken. It won't happen again.
Good. You can do this, Tommy. You have the potential to do well in this business, but it's going to take practice and hard work. All right, now just a few more points and I'll leave you to practice on your own.
You mean there's more?
Oh yeah, you bet there's more. You've got to know how to finish the walk-around.
I've got this one, Chuck. Ask for the order, right?
Well, not yet, Tommy. While it's good to put in a few trial closes throughout the walk-around just to test the customer's reaction, a simple non-threatening question like, wouldn't you agree that reducing driver turnover can have a big impact on your bottom line? That can clarify that they're still on board with the benefits that you identified. Now, getting back to my original point about finishing the walk-around, at the conclusion of the walk-around, or better still, after coming back from the test drive, you should summarize all the features and how they addressed the customer's concerns, the savings included, and how each dollar amount was determined. I prefer to do this before leaving the cab of the truck. Some guys want to invite the customer back to their office to summarize, but it's up to you and how you read your customer. It's also a good idea to outline the relevant support services such as warranty, parts and services, etc. Likewise, when you're wrapping up, it's a good idea to hand the prospect a paper summary outlining the cost analysis or any other kind of documentation like a testimonial that will support the walk-around. And in the case of a walk-in customer, it can be as simple as just writing a few notes on a brochure that will help personalize the walk-around experience for the customer. And then finally...
Now ask him for the order, right?
Well, it's true. You have to ask for the order more than just once during the sales process. So asking for the order now may be appropriate. It all depends on where you are in the purchase cycle. What I would recommend is that you ask the customer if they're satisfied with the information he or she has received. You can provide any supplemental information that will answer any other questions that they have at this point. Now, you're in a position to invite the customer to take the deal to the next level. That may be asking for the order, or that may be asking him to review financial options, or committing to taking a demo vehicle, or reviewing your proposed specifications for the customer's application. It all depends on where you are in the sales process. And in any case, be ready to take the order. Tommy, I know that I have thrown a lot of new information at you on how to make a fabulous walk-around. Now, how much can you remember?
Let's see. The feature tells the customer what it is. The advantage tells the customer what it does. The benefit tells the customer, so what? Or why is this feature important to him? Learn about the customer and his business before the walk-around. Express a functional benefit in terms of dollars saved or hours saved in repairs. A psychological benefit reinforces a positive feeling or eliminates a negative feeling. To have the most impact with a dollar benefit, you need to use realistic numbers, preferably the customer's numbers from the interview, and stretch the dollar amount over the life cycle. Get the customer to participate, keep the walk around to 20, 25 minutes, stage the truck to save time, and show off the features to their best advantage. The truck should be clean and have enough fuel for a test drive. Reinforce the point with a visual aid or prop. Look at the customer, not the truck. Voice needs to be confident and loud enough to hear. Convey an enthusiastic, positive attitude. Avoid distracting habits or mannerisms. Dress like a professional. At the conclusion of the walk-around, summarize the features and how they addressed the customer's concerns. Outline the relevant support services such as warranty, parts and service, etc. Give the customer a paper summary outlining the cost analysis or any other kind of documentation. And finally, invite the customer to take the deal to the next level.
Attaboy, Tommy. You've got it. Now all that's left is for you to practice until you have it down well enough that you can quickly tailor it to suit the needs of any customer. And you'll just blow them away with a first-class walk-around. Are there any other questions that come to mind?
Well, just one. Approximately how long should I take at each station?
Well, now that's a good question. The time spent at each station will vary depending on what the customer's hot buttons are. But to help you with your timing, here are some general guidelines. As we mentioned earlier, keep the walk around to 20, maybe 25 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes on the approach, 10 to 15 minutes on the presentation, and then 3 to 5 minutes for the summary and the wrap-up. Again, the actual stations you stop at around the truck and how long you spend at each one will depend on the individual customer and what is important to them. Using the driver's seat as a reference point, some salespeople like to start at the right front corner of the truck and then proceed clockwise, stopping under the hood, the side of the cab, and the chassis on both sides of the truck before getting into the cab. Now, if you feel it's worth showing the customer the 1 or 2 points of differentiation, great. I usually simply start at the front, look under the hood, on the left side, go down the driver's side of the truck to the back of the cab, into frame area, before stepping into the cab. Now, I only go to the passenger side if there is something really unique over on that side mounted that the customer really would think is important. It's really between you and the customer. But in any case, the important thing is to end up inside the cab. You want to end up in a position where it's easy to encourage the customer to take it for a test drive. Well, Tommy, I'm going to leave you to your practice. If you need help or any other questions, please just call me or any of the other sales rep.
Thanks, Chuck. I'll do that.
Okay, good luck.